Long live Ghana, man. Long live the baby, man.
One time. So come go to Jenny Bombay. So come from we are fire. I'm ready, but to you. Ghana, made but to you. When me free Ghana, me man penny a wodi kanu your friend no Dr. Nkrumah. Me mini say na woni my dear na boy your mama. Asemba coupe bi na me nte ya eya me nwanwa. Here ono na je fan hu die. Ye na raya sasini eya body de ma ye. Moja na no hie gunya de to ho ma ye. Edru me ne wo go say ye be ye bi ato aso tie. Ghana de be ye me ne wa. Ye me ne udi a. Na me ye me ne udi a. Wo so no bi anya bi o. On one Diana and I'm possessed every Obiana war and any Jana into young physical tons of from Namo Frayina, come Nayan to Jomon Campuya, who say a kind of animal there be and so did video some you know the Ghana City, Obia baby and now to any greedy. I bet Janka Bitty baby and I will go to Kubia, Bianco Bini, Libya, when I was so young. Rene see my back when the Priatos and Uncle and dance so call Parliament, Akonako, and I was saying to me come to my power, and for Jankan Koya Bawana, and Master Bibi, a woman, Panko Shabun, some tower, and yes, I know power when one could try a bank tower. Really, me and Sasa, and yet, Banaya Casaqua, May, then you don't be found yet. Muntia, Ghana, man, you Pana, May, I'm in Udia, Ghana, May, I'm in Udia.
Hello, my name is Jermaine. You're watching Diaspora Weekly, and we're on Diaspora Network Television DNT. Today, I have a multifaceted guest involving very different things. It's going to be exciting, I guarantee you. But before we get to her, we have to go to the jangle. Stay tuned for the jangle. In today's jangle, I want to focus on the country of Zimbabwe. You know, in February of this year, when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, it abruptly stopped the flow of grain all over the world, and every country was up in arms. We can't get grains and whatnot. At that time, Zimbabwe was consuming 360,000 tons of grain, and they were producing 300,000 tons. Instead of sitting and waiting for the war to end so they can make the difference, they strapped on their bootstrap, went to work, and in less than a year, Zimbabwe is on track to produce 380,000 tons of grain, to become a net exporter of grain in 1 year, less than 1 year. And guess what? Zimbabwe is under sanctions. So if Zimbabwe is under sanctions and can do this, and you have 54 other countries in Africa who are not under sanctions, folding their arms, waiting for the war to end in Ukraine so they can get their grain. What does that say about us? So today, we're going to talk to someone who is actually into agriculture, a very unlikely profession, I might add. But I wanted to use that moment to say that, look, the world has changed. When COVID came, we proved in Africa that we can be self-reliant. COVID did not run ravage like it did elsewhere. We relied on ourselves to do it, to take care of business. Now we have the opportunity to get into agriculture. This is the calling right now for all African countries. Go back to the land, produce enough to eat and export the rest. We can do it. For today, that's the jangle. Stay tuned for my guest.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think specialized. Special ice, natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Hello and welcome back. Today we're delighted to be joined by Zara Faye. Zara, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Zara is an entrepreneur, chocolate, as you can tell, has a line of skincare products.
Coming soon.
But you're farming.
Yes.
Of all the places that I would have expected a model to be, not in a farm. Talk to me. Let's talk. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much.
But first, you have to tell us about yourself. Who is Zara Faye?
All right. So I would say that I'm somebody who is passionate about personal development.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an entrepreneur. I believe in respecting nature, which is part of why I'm into agriculture. And I would like to say I'm also a multi-potentialite. I'm interested in a range of different things, range of different industries. And yeah, that's me.
Wow. Okay. And you're originally from?
The Gambia.
The Gambia. Okay. The first thing I want to get out of the way. When we were growing up, it was Gambia. But then you guys added a "the." People don't know that the full name is The Gambia. Okay. What was that about? The, where did it come from?
I have no idea where it came from. I think it's just been, we've always known that it's the Gambia.
Okay.
Ever since we've grown up. And
The rest of us didn't know that. I mean,
yeah.
When we were growing up, it was Gambia. Or at least if the was there, we didn't know. But only
now,
recently the has been very pronounced.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
So what's it like growing up in the Gambia?
I would say the Gambia is very interesting. Ghana reminds me of the Gambia in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hospitable. Growing up, I grew up with other people, other members of my family, my cousins, my aunts. So I had a lot of people around. And I had nice friends at school. I was actually quite athletic growing up, which is very different.
Athletic?
Yes.
What was your
I used to run.
Run?
Yes. I used
race?
to run like 200 meters.
200 meters?
Yes. I used to be into running.
So that's sprinting?
Yes.
Okay. The last time I tried to do athletics, so I'm playing basketball. They say, in high school,
Yes.
they call me and say, "Hey, Jermaine, we need someone to do 800. We can't find any." I'll do it.
Wow.
So I go and stand there, and the gun goes off, and they take off. Unfortunately for me, the 800 runner in my school was a national athlete.
Oh, gosh.
So they take off, and I'm seeing his back, and I'm like, I'm going to catch him. And the distance kept increasing. By the time we won one round, I was so out of gas.
It happens to the best of us.
So athletics, since that time, I've never been on the tracks before.
Yeah.
So how far do you take this?
Not that far. I think it was just in school, but it's one of the things I remember I really enjoyed. And my cousins also used to play like football. Four corners. Okay. Somewhere at the back of the house. And I also used to play with them.
Four corners?
Yes, they used to call it like four corners because it's four corners of like an empty building.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay,
but that was it. That was growing up in the Gambia. Yeah.
And then you went to?
The UK.
UK. All right. And then you came back to Ghana.
Yes.
Okay. Born in Gambia, traveled to UK, but then comes back to Ghana. There's got to be a story behind that.
Yes.
Okay. We're all ears.
So I sort of felt like I wasn't really thriving in the UK. I was struggling. You know, maybe some of my friends, they could find their feet, but the UK somehow just wasn't really working for me. And I always knew I wanted to go back to Africa. But in my family, they go back after they've built their homes and, you know, they're probably well into their 40s or 50s before they leave. And so I just told myself, I also hated my job. So I told myself that I would like to move. I didn't know what country I wanted to move to, but I knew I wanted to be in the tropics. I wanted to be somewhere that was warm. And I felt like perhaps I could explore other aspects of my interests. And I came across Ghana. At that time, you guys were changing governments. There was a lot of, you know, good feedback about Ghana. Yeah, this was back in 2017 when I wanted to do this, and I ended up moving in 2018.
Okay.
Kind of on a whim, almost.
Okay.
And I thought it's not as big as Gambia. It's not as small as Gambia, rather, not as big as Nigeria, English speaking. It just looked like a good country for me to go to. And I didn't visit, I just came.
Was there a Ghanaian friend that influenced this back in the UK?
I wouldn't say so. I would say it was mainly secondary research, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was online.
So if you're a West African, a Gambian, the Gambian, and you're in UK, and if the determining factor is English, what are your options? You got Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, and then Nigeria. Nigeria is high profile, so why not?
Scared. I was
Scared?
Yes, Nigeria was a bit too intimidating.
Okay, what intimidated you about Nigeria?
I mean, if I'm going to up and move to a country, I think it's a big enough risk, but I think Nigeria is a very big risk.
Okay, but Ghana was safe.
Ghana was safer, yes.
My Nigerian friends, I'm gonna have a field day with this little piece right here, with this Ghana Nigerian thing, because I do Ghana jollof. And you guys also have jollof, right?
Not only do we have jollof, but we are the originators of jollof.
The Gambia, the originators.
Yes,
Not
SeneGambia. It's SeneGambia.
SeneGambia. Okay, so you're the originators.
Thank you for accepting
So,
that.
well, I'm going with your word. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm going with your word. But who has the best, though? You've been in Ghana. You've known the SeneGambia jollof. You know Ghana, and you know Nigerian jollof. Be very careful about this response.
You know what? So let me mitigate this.
Okay.
Senegal overall, but between Ghana and Nigeria, I would say Ghana.
Ah.
So I hope that puts me in a safe spot.
Okay, that's a politician's response.
Yes.
If you were on Nigerian TV, would you answer the same way?
Actually, when I was on Nigerian radio, I said that watching Ghanaians and Nigerians fight over jollof is like watching two orphans fight over my mother. Oh. And it didn't go down well. So I have to be more careful now. Hence the answer I just gave.
Say that again. Wow. Ghanaians are listening, by the way, and so are Nigerians. And what was that again?
I can't believe I've done it again. You landed me in soup.
Say it again. Watching
Ghanaians and Nigerians fight over jollof is like watching two orphans fight over my mother.
Because you guys own jollof.
We do.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that alone. Let's talk about farming. What got you into the farm?
I started off with gardening, actually. So I actually know houseplants. So I kept one houseplant alive, and I thought to myself, this is pretty cool how it works. And then I think I was doing research again in 2020, and I saw that there was going to be a recession, inflation was coming in. And as an entrepreneur who was struggling during COVID times, because I was in real estate at that time and I was not doing well. So I thought to myself, maybe I could try with one plot or something and see what I can do with that. And I just got obsessed.
Wow.
From just watching from seed to seedling to the plants growing. And I started doing I started realizing just how, well, easy it is to grow your own food and how special it is to be able to farm something and see it from farm to plate. So that got me into it.
So, and in Ghana, we've really relegated agriculture to the quote unquote the uneducated, right? What do you think about that?
I think it's quite unfortunate,
Okay.
right? Because what's uneducated about taking control of the most basic human need?
Right.
I think if anything, it's the opposite. It is very educated
Okay.
to care about where your food comes from, something that we do every day. I mean, our 3 basic human needs are food, clothing, shelter. So it is about having control over that. That's very educated, if you ask me.
That's a good way to look at it. And while you're doing this, do you do this alone or do you have help?
So I used to have a farm manager, used to do the farming. But as time went on, I realized it's not something you can do part-time because, like I said, I have other interests. So I started outsourcing, but working with farmers who are in the north. And so I now work with them, with farmers as opposed to
Where are
farming.
you going to take this farming thing? How far are you going to take it?
So I want to farm for beauty products. So that's another thing with agriculture. People think that it just has to be food related, but you can farm for things. You can farm where the end product could be alcohol, could be beauty products. And so I'm farming for like beauty products. So the seed oils, moringa seed oil, baobab seed oil, hibiscus seed oil.
Okay.
So that's my focus, and then exporting.
Okay. Do you feel out of place in a farm? You don't?
It's so relaxing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are a model, or at least you have the features of a model. And if I saw you in a farm, I'm like, what's she doing over there? People might look at you and say, oh, that's a photo op.
People do that all the time.
Really?
Yes, they think I'm just posing on the farm for optics.
Yeah.
Or they're like, you don't look like a farmer.
Yeah.
Or you don't look like you're into farming.
Yeah.
I found that interesting as well. But I think I actually like doing it also so people can see that there are many different faces of farming. Farming doesn't have to just be for one, particular group of people. We should all be farming, to be honest. Yeah.
And what do you actually use the tools, cutlass, hoes and stuff, or is it mechanized? Or?
Sometimes I help.
Yeah.
Sometimes I help just so I know what's happening. But there are people who do that.
Do you have a picture of you with a hoe or a cutlass?
Yes, but not here.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
on another
Then
phone.
if it's
on
not
my
here-
other phone.
If it's not here, then I don't believe
I do
you.
have some farming pictures though.
Okay, yeah. But if I don't see you with a cutlass, I don't believe you.
I'll show you.
You show me.
In due
Guaranteed.
time.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. And you said you're farming for other beauty products, and you mentioned moringa and all those things. How do those factor into what you want to do in future?
So I currently have a business and we're turning over into more of like a health and wellness brand and beauty brand. So farming will help me be in control and know exactly what's happening with my products. So I would like to get to know the products more intimately, and farming them myself, or rather working with people directly with people who farm them, gives me that. So I can make sure quality assurance and things of that sort, and then see what happens with exporting them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're staying with farming because in my Django, we talked about Africa. We have perhaps the largest arable land in all of the world. And yet you see you've been to the north. You can see miles and miles and miles of land that we're not using for anything. Do you think, is it time to change our thinking, to use those lands? Or what's your take? When you see those lands, bare lands, what goes through your mind?
I feel like we're missing out on so much, especially Ghana's a farming country. The land is so fertile. There's so much here. I mean, people come to Ghana to farm, to take things out of Ghana. So that goes to show that there's huge opportunity here as far as export is concerned. So when I see that, I get quite sad, because I'm like, it's right here, it's right in front of us. How can we utilize this? So for myself and a group of friends I have who also don't look like they're into farming, we're all coming together to either do something with farms or seeds, or planting trees around Ghana, or seed saving, getting seed banks where we save some of the seeds of the indigenous seeds that we have here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what would you say to young people who are out of uni, jobless for months, years, looking for the typical work? Is there opportunity for them in farming, and how can they get into it?
I would say so. I feel like in terms of getting into it, they don't actually have to do the farming themselves. They could outsource, just like I'm doing. They also don't need a lot of capital, because you don't need so much to just start off. There's huge opportunity. There are people who are actually always looking for produce. I think that part of it is not being aware of perhaps the opportunities that are out there, but getting into it is like it's a win-win, in the sense that you, again, take control of your basic human need in terms of sustenance, and you can make money on top. You can look into ways where you can export. There, companies outside Ghana that are always looking for things that we have here, especially the grains I'm seeing now, like you were saying earlier, the millet, the fonio, the sorghum. There's so much out there, especially now since COVID. People want to take control of their health and wellness more. So people are looking into things they can get from Africa. And yeah.
What's the potential of shea butter?
I think...
Are you into that, or?
Not so much. Maybe other butters, like, not so much
other
the shea.
butters?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Besides shea, what else do it? Because you only hear about shea butter.
There's mango butter. There's different...
Mango has butter?
Yeah, the mango seed.
Mango butter.
Cocoa butter. And those,
cocoa,
yes, and cocoa butter. There's like, yes, so there's different, there's like a small fruit that you could use as well, and the seed of that. There's so many different types of butter.
And all of these are in Ghana?
Yes. Ghana has so much. Like, there's so much available in Ghana as far as commodities in terms of agriculture and things that can be used to create products. There's a lot, and people like to come into Ghana and take them out of the country.
If you were the president of Ghana right now, I'm making you president, you just came from Gambia, now you're the president of Ghana, what would you do with agriculture?
I'll try to find a way to incentivize the youth so that more of them will be interested in it. I'll perhaps focus a lot on the education aspect and show them the opportunities, create ways in which they would have opportunities for this, and see the interest, because if the youth aren't interested, or if they can't see the potential, if it doesn't look cool, they would rather be in an office.
Okay.
And skilled labor is sort of something
but
that's
then how do you make farming cool? Seriously.
Farming is cool already. Like,
I'm a city boy, and I'm just not a farmer. Okay, that's me. I'm sure other people. Look, we got more people. They're country folks, like rural folks. They insist on moving to the urban. So now we have urban migration.
Yeah.
But how do you convince them that farming is cool? The term farming is cool, I think it's a strange mix of words. Won't you say that? Mm-hmm. But you just use them.
Yes.
Okay. Farming is cool. On the note of farming is cool, we're gonna go on a quick break. When we come back, we will get into skin care products. Stay tuned. This is Diaspora Weekly.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? makes you feel real good. That refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think specialized. Special ice, natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and we're joined by Zara Faye, farmer. I introduced you first as an entrepreneur. Now it turns out you're very much into farming. And you guys are teasing me when we went on break that I'm a city boy. You're a city girl.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the difference between you and me?
You're perhaps more city than I am.
How so?
At least I'm willing to go to the farm, you know?
Okay. And you guys were talking about how expensive food is.
Yeah. You know, now is the best time. I wish I could appeal. Now is
Okay.
actually the best time to get into farming. Ghana is hot, guys. Like, we're all struggling. It's not, you know, when even from one tomato that you buy, the next time you buy a tomato, you can save the seed and start growing your own tomatoes and just see, you know, and try, at least attempt. I would say that.
Okay. Very good. So now you're farming not only for food, for sustenance, as you say, but also for skincare products. Tell me about those.
So I've always been interested in skincare, and I
see.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I wasn't always very good at looking after my skin, but once I started, I used to just wear makeup all the time. There was a point in time when I was in college, I think I was always wearing makeup, and my skin was getting worse as a result. And I started realizing that it's better to focus on what's underneath, and I started spending more money on skincare.
Okay.
But then when I came to Ghana and I started traveling around different regions and using the products that they have from shea butter, like you mentioned earlier, I said to myself, wow, like this is really good. It's all natural, it's not invasive, and it works. So I started with Carrara, like we were saying earlier, and now I told myself that I want to showcase these. I want the world to know about it. I want women, especially, to know the power of these things, especially the ones that are made well, that are unrefined, because sometimes we may think baobab oil is bad because you've used the unrefined version, you know, but organic baobab oil is fantastic.
How do you do these? How do you transform them to the natural, the farm products state, to the skincare state? I mean, I know it's processes involved and there are what you can share and what you cannot share, but is it tedious?
I enjoy it. I think seeing it from start to finish, watching the process from start to finish is very enjoyable. And also, it's exciting when you get to use these products and you see that they're making a difference. You know, for example, the moringa oil that we're going to bring out to market. You know, I did some braids a few months ago and they took all my edges away. And then with the moringa oil, it's been helping bring my edges back. So I think that alone even makes me so excited to showcase these products to other people as well. Yeah.
You know, this is an edge of the table. For me, that's what, for a man, that's what an edge means.
Right.
What is an edge?
Would you be an urge?
No, the edge. You say
edges. It's like my edges were struggling, you know, so it's these, you know, we want to keep them.
Okay.
Yes, because, you know, sometimes as a girl, you argue with someone and they're like, I don't argue with someone with no edges. I don't want someone to say that to me. I want to
Wait.
have edges.
Wait. I don't argue with someone with no edges.
Yeah.
And you understand what they mean.
Yeah.
If they told me that, I'm like, but anyway, Carrara. So tell us about Carrara and what are your plans for them?
So with Carrara, we source handmade and handicrafts from various artisans around Africa, and we showcase these to Ghana as well as the rest of the world. Currently, we're more focused on like wholesale exports, and we've been mainly offline, but we've just started coming back online and having a more having a stronger online presence. And so we source things from home decor items, whether it's the bulgur baskets, the clay pots, jewelry, just a range of different items that we have. Yeah.
Why is it important what kind of skin care you put for guys? I mean, if I finish, I'll find whatever is available, I'll rub it, I'll put it on. Why is this so, why certain specific stuff? Why is it important?
Well, the skin is the largest organ on the body, so it's very important to look after it. And what you put in it, it just doesn't affect like your lower epidermis or your, it seeps into your bloodstream. And I think that's part of the reason why the natural skincare is very important, at least to Carrara, because everything you put into your body, it goes into your body and it starts to affect you. So some of the skincare products with a lot of chemicals that are used at the moment, they're part of the reason why a lot of us struggle with things such as cysts and fibroids and hormonal imbalances and things of that nature. So, yeah.
Skincare has a relation with hormonal products?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Because it can affect certain organs due to it seeping through your bloodstream, and that then in turn affects your hormones. Yeah.
And like everything else, what's made in Africa by us, for us, is inferior. We want what the white man does and import to us so that we'll exchange dollars to buy it. Tell me how smart we are in this whole dynamics.
I think it's probably a lack of knowledge rather than anything else. Because what I find is that there's a lack of awareness as far as appreciating what we have. Which is quite sad as well, because, even when I go to the north, sometimes I see people, it's so hot, but they have like aluminium roofs, which doesn't really make sense with the environment. So it's about building homes.
Because that's modern.
Yeah.
Because if you live in a hut with all those things in it, that's primitive.
Yes.
Is it time to go back to those things?
I think with technology advancing and modernization, it's quite difficult. It would be very difficult too. But it's unfortunate that we've gotten to a point where we discard of those things and we no longer find the value in them, but we've included so many things into our lives that we don't need. Yeah. And in turn, it just adds more complication into our lives. Because we just feel like we need it because we're just consuming all the time. But we don't
you know what you just said about the aluminum roofs versus the
thatch roofs.
The one with the stuff, the one on regular huts. It just gave me an idea. Brick, right? Over here we build with blocks, with cement and sand, and we make blocks and we build with it. Back in the States, they use red brick for homes, and mud. These we have it all over the place. And so I'm thinking, why can't our researchers make red bricks? We can have our streets instead of tarred roads and everything. If we research, we can actually have roads that are made of some kind of product of bricks,
of course,
which is our soil, and cars could be running. Why aren't we doing those things? I mean, now you've gotten me into thinking natural stuff, living with natural stuff, doing it for ourselves. And so when you look at what we become so dependent on what they've told us when we have a lot of things in front of us.
Yeah.
Your your line, Carrara, chances are if someone went to the shop, they see Carrara. Oh, what's Carrara? I don't know the name. But when they see Nivea, oh, it's a name brand. Or what, you know, how do we get ourselves out of that?
I think it starts with us appreciating what we have over here, you know, because even coming to Ghana, because I also had lived in the UK, there were some things when I came to Ghana, I was like, wow, like this is really cool. But the people who are in Ghana, they
not value it.
Yeah, you know, they don't really care about it. So, but it's, you know, like you were saying with the artisans, for example, the amount of time and craftsmanship that it takes to create some of these items, only for us to sort of just think, oh, you know, like the clay pots, for example, the earthenware, it's a lot healthier for us than the aluminium cooking pots that we use, you know, and it also preserves the flavor of the food a lot better. But we still don't want them. And it doesn't cost us anything, you know, like you're saying, even with architecture, African architecture. I mean, there is a company called Hive Earth, and we that are currently talking about mixing different mud things to create homes, and they're doing quite well. And I'm quite glad that they're starting to get recognized.
When you talk about the artisanship and the clay pots and stuff, I want your opinion on this, because when I asked my friend, they wanted to have my head for it. Palm wine, right? I asked a simple question. I'm asking you watching. If you drink palm wine from calabash and you drinking from a glass, which one tastes better?
The calabash will taste better, 100%. I'm sure of it. I've never had it, but I'm sure of it.
So palm wine with calabash tastes better than drinking the same type of palm wine with glass.
I'm sure.
What additional thing did the calabash add to it to make it taste better?
It's the natural stuff, you guys. It's the nature. Nature.
So by the same token, if you're eating fufu from, what do you call that thing? Apotoyoa.
Yes.
Earthenware product. If you're eating fufu from that, you want to tell me it tastes better than eating it from maybe a plastic bowl or something? Yes. How?
It does.
What does it add to it?
You see, I have people agreeing with me in studio.
Okay. On that note, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're coming back to Africa, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Stay tuned. This is Diaspora Weekly.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized, feel different. Always think specialized. Special ice, natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Hello and welcome back to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine. If I have a long face, there's a reason for that. I have an entire studio against me. All right. So now we can get into the skincare products and the stuff that you're doing, and it naturally leads into the skin pigmentation. One of the things that I notice about you is your chocolate and beautiful. But there are others who are like you who insist on bleaching to become fairer. What do you think about that?
I can understand it at times because I think it's a systemic issue, that stems from way back, colonial times. And I think we're still dealing with the effects of that. And sometimes it's not just about how it looks for some women, it's access. It's like survival almost, because some women feel like, at least in the Gambia, right? Because the majority of us are darker skin. We're SeneGambians. We're known to have the blue-black skin tone. And you come in as one lighter skinned person and it's very different from what people are used to. So they're looking, and some people want fairer skinned people to represent them, whether you have a restaurant or a skincare, a salon. So for some people, it's their way of getting a job. And it goes beyond just them wanting to change their skin tone. Yeah.
So, Senegambia, you said the blue-black skin. If that's the dominant complexion, I'm sure there are fairer skinned Senegambians.
Yes.
Do they get more attention?
Yes.
Is the extra attention as a result of being different, or is it more appreciated?
I think mainly it's more appreciated, but also because it's different. I think something that's different to what we're used to will always catch our eye. But I think also it's more appreciated. Even growing up in school, the lighter skinned girls would automatically be the best looking girls in the school. Yeah.
By whose standard?
By the rest of the school, especially the men.
You've lived in the UK before, all right?
Yes.
So let's talk about, take a fair skinned Senegambian amidst a darker skin majority. And when you lived in the UK, if you were out with your friends, I'm sure you had white friends, did you get the extra attention because you stood out?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
You didn't think so? So in the UK, if you were one of 10 girls, and the 9 were white and you were the single one that's dark skinned, you did not notice that you got the extra attention. You don't remember?
No, unless we went somewhere and I was the only black person in that room, whether it's a bar or, a restaurant or something, or an event, and I'd be like the only black person there. I think then I would,
okay, you get the extra attention, but it's from curiosity.
Yes, yes.
That's different. Right?
Yes, yes.
But did you get the sense that you were better appreciated than... Okay.
No, it was the opposite.
It's the opposite.
I would say,
okay.
yeah.
So now let's flip. So you have a chocolate girl who's beautiful in UK amidst other white girls. But the attention you get is out of more due to curiosity.
Yeah.
Rather than being more appreciated.
Yeah.
By white men. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then when we come to Africa, and the dynamics are completely flipped in directly the opposite way, where you are chocolate, beautiful, 10 of you, and there's a fairer skin, and 9 times out of 10, she's not even as beautiful. But the African men are not paying attention to her because she's different, but they're paying attention to her because she's more appreciated. What's lost in this dynamic?
I think it's the acceptance of, if it's black men, it's also what do you come from, accepting that, loving that, appreciating that, and seeing that, you can't always say something with someone's preferences sometimes, because maybe that's their preference, but I wonder what that preference is rooted in.
Exactly.
If that's the only thing that is your interest in.
You see, preference, you're right. People have their different preferences. But I think you nailed it. What is it rooted in, right? And so, it goes beyond a lot of things. It's the same way that if I see Carrara on a shelf, I say, nah, Carrara, that's different. I'll go with something the white. Even in case where it's established that the local one is better.
Yeah.
For example, palm wine.
Yeah.
Palm wine has a lot of nutritional value.
Yeah.
But if you drink palm wine, you're illiterate. Oh, you just, people drink it for novelty. But that wine from Italy, wow. I mean, what I'm trying to get to the mindset. Do we need to do anything about our mindset?
Of course. I think we have this mindset where we think westernized is better, where I think we think westernized and civilized are mutually exclusive when the two don't necessarily always correlate, but we love to get affirmed, by the West before we can find beauty in our own. We literally wait in line for them to tell us this is great. We wait for them to affirm our foods before we can, get excited about it sometimes. Or just their go ahead for us, we wait for that. Unless they give us that go ahead, we feel as though, no, we can't look at something and value it. That's why sometimes we can't look at our own skin and value it.
We know the problem. In fact, today is 28? Barely 3 days ago, 4 days ago, on October 24th, based on our research and knowledge of the British process, working with DNT's British correspondent, we were able to project and announce that UK is going to have his first Indian Prime Minister. When we put it out, no comment, nobody. People were waiting. Wait, BBC hasn't said that. Wait, CNN hasn't said that. Wait, this hasn't said that. And it's the same thing. It's palm wine, news organization, skincare.
Yeah.
What do we do about this? Because for me, I know what the problem is. We just have to be, like you said, we have to be substantiated. We have to be endorsed by the West. But what is it going to take for us to get out of this?
I think we need to start by appreciating, Maybe it's an understanding. Sometimes I wonder if there's an education side of it that's missing that needs to be incorporated. I don't know if that's me being hopeful, but sometimes I think that maybe when people just understand and see the value in these things, sometimes you see somebody who has so much within their environment, but they're looking for something else outside and they're chasing something else. Meanwhile, their livelihood or their sense of sustenance is right in front of them. Yeah. So I think partly we also don't know. But I think it starts with us appreciating. We don't need to wait for somebody else to do that.
Would you ever bleach?
No.
Come on, you get more attention.
I've considered it, Once, yeah. I considered it, not necessarily bleaching, but I think we call it toning.
Toning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've considered toning because I think this was at the time filters came out and I wasn't necessarily feeling like, I think
What's filter?
Instagram filters.
Oh, okay.
And Snapchat filters.
Okay.
And I would look so good.
You're gonna laugh at me because I see people filters. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I just felt like the filtered pictures of me were looking really good and they were lighter. And so I started picturing myself looking like that. And I thought, I would look more attractive if I was like a few shades lighter.
That's interesting because even you yourself, seeing yourself, you appreciated yourself, a lighter version of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out the basis of that. What made you think that?
I think it's also conditioning.
Conditioning.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Because in the Gambia as well, I'm surrounded by a lot of people who also, bleach or tone or, whatever else. And it's like normal. You don't see a bleaching cream at any household and you're like, whoa, why is it there? We grew up with our aunties asking us to cream their backs for them, because they can't reach their backs themselves. So we will use the bleaching cream to help them do it. And sometimes your own hands would start getting a bit lighter as a result of helping over time. So I think it's partly like conditioning. And also I used to get comments where people would tell me if I was just a few shades lighter, I'd be really beautiful.
Wow.
Just a few shades.
Would you like to take on the advocate of this? Because there has to be an education. There had to be an educative effort to let people understand. And so, would you be interested in serving as an advocate for chocolate beauty?
Yes, of course. If the opportunity presented itself, why not?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because these things are important to me because, look, as I've grown and I've grown to appreciate Africa more, and I've known what's here and what we can do with what's here. Outfits. We have some of the most beautiful, but we will insist on suits and tie. Yeah. These are things that have been hidden in me that I just want out, and I don't know what it's going to take. Yeah. So let's close the final few minutes with Pan-Africanism. When you left Gambia, went to the UK, came back to Ghana, I'm sure you felt at home. That's why you stayed. Because you said there is a commonality, hospitality, and everything. Do you think that the dynamics will be the same in other countries, other African countries? I know you said Nigeria was a bit intimidating, but if you had found yourself in somewhere like Angola, do you think you would have felt the same?
I don't know if I would have felt quite at home as I do here. Okay,
let's use another English speaking, because Angola is Portuguese.
Yes.
Why didn't you look east? There's Uganda, there's Tanzania, there's Kenya.
Yeah. I think there's something about Ghana and the people at its core, I find. And I always say that a lot of us are walking around, but not all of us are human beings. Because what makes us human sometimes is the consciousness that we have and things like that not everyone you see walking around has that. But in Ghana, I find that a lot of people are like that. Like when I first came, I saw in one day 3 cars break down, and people just came and gathered to help. They don't even know you, you know. And the way people are so willing to help me sometimes, I would be so surprised, because that would never be the case in the UK. And amongst other things, I don't know if it's the same across Africa. Some African countries aren't as friendly. Let's say like South Africa, for example, they've had, you know, their own issues, apartheid and all of that. Yes. But I think Ghana has that special quality that probably would make.
So when it got here, your expectations of Ghana, were there some surprises?
Yes.
Good, bad, either way?
I think mainly good, but there were also some things I didn't really expect, I would say, because sometimes, but I understand it. I think sometimes people always remind me that I'm foreign. So like, go back to, you're still in Ghana, go to Gambia, you know, or something like that.
Is it because you didn't speak the local language?
I think so, but I'm trying.
Okay, do you
to
speak
learn
it now?
the kakra.
Okay, that's good to know. All right.
Yes.
And you said I shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. When was the last time we went to the Gambia?
Oh, goodness. Last year.
Okay. On that note,
it's been a while. Let's just put it that way.
On that note, I'd like to thank you, Zara, for being a guest on Diaspora Weekly. I think this has been illuminating. We've talked about 3 main important areas, and I think you continue to be a champion. And for you watching, Diaspora Weekly is where we talk about Pan-Africanism, diaspora, all that stuff. And I want to thank you for watching. This is Diaspora Network Television. Stay tuned.
Long live Ghana, man. Long live the baby, man.
One time. So come go to Jenny Mumbai. So come we are fire. I'm ready to you. Ghana Ghana man yeah betu when me free Ghana me man penia wodi kanu your friend Dr. Nkrumah yeah me say na woni my dear na your mama asemba kupe bi na me ntia eya me nwanwa yeah ono na je fa hu die ye nara ya sasini eya bode de ma ye moja na no hwie gunya de to ho ma ye edru me ne wo guza ye be ye bi ato aso tie Ghana de be ye me ne wa ye me ne udi Ghana me ye me ne udi wo so no bi anya bi o Jankei on one Diana and possesses a ray of Yana and then Jana into young physical tons of from Nemo Frayina, come Nayan to Jomon Campo, who say a kind of animal there be and so did video some you know the Ghana City, Obia baby and now to any greedy. I bet Janka Bitty baby and I will go to Korea, Bianco Bini, Libya, will never want to sue. Rene who see my back when the Priato San and Kutia can dance so woke up Parliament, Taconako, and I was say, I want to become a power man for Jankan Koya Bawana, as a master BB, a woman, Panko Shabon, some tower, and yes, na koti power when one go try abanka wa when me nyansa se menye ba na ye kasa kwa meyi yenya do mi pa uri muntie Ghana man nyumpa na edie meyi ya me ni uri a o Ghana meyi ya me ni uri a